Hey guys, Eric here with another video. So I'll just jump right into it. So I've been playing a lot of PlayStation games lately, and I figured I'd just do a PlayStation Hidden Gems video for anyone looking for PlayStation games, since it seems like prices are cooling off for it. So the first game up is going to be Raystorm. It's actually going to be Raystorm and Raycrisis, but Working Designs published shooters. There's also Thunder Force 5, but I figured I would just show the Raystorm games. These games are pretty cool. They rely on you kind of locking onto your enemies. Like, you have a reticle at a certain range on the screen. If you lock onto the enemies, you can shoot powerful attacks and kind of kill off a bunch of enemies at the same time. The game looks really good. It's really hard. It's somewhere between like an arcade shooter and like a bullet hell shmup, but it's really cool. And like I said, there was also Ray Crisis for the PlayStation 1 as well, also published by Working Designs. This game plays a lot like Raystorm, except it looks a lot better and it's a little more streamlined. Um, right off the bat, you get one extra ship to try to use versus in Raystorm, and I think like the special attacks and then just like using the lock-on attacks and stuff just work a little bit better than they do in Raystorm. But these are both like really cool vertical scrolling shooters. So if you're a fan of that kind of shooter, or if you're just a fan of shooters in general, or you want to, well, I guess these probably wouldn't be very good entry level games, but they're still a really cool series. All right, the next game up is going to be one that I just recently got into, and it's actually really cool. I think it also released on PSN, but it's going to be Strider 2. This game, I guess, is pretty infamous in that when it shipped, it comes with two discs. So one disc was Strider 1, the other disc was Strider 2, and when it shipped, oh, top came off, but when it shipped, Strider 1 got put on the disc labeled Strider 2, and then Strider 2 got put on the disc labeled Strider 1. So if you're just looking for these discs individually, Strider 2 is on the Strider 1 disc, Strider 1 is on the Strider 2 disc. Strider 2 is infinitely better than Strider 1, but it's really cool, I guess, bundle to get. So like Strider 1 on this series, or on this disc, is I think just the arcade port of the first Strider game. So it's actually really cool. It looks really great, especially if you're playing over a component. And like the combat and stuff feel pretty okay, I guess. It's just kind of slow. And it gets really hard, like really quick. But Strider 2 is where the game's really at. It's got like a kind of the sprite based on polygon background that the PlayStation 1 is kind of famous for, and I really like that. And then the music in Strider 2 is really cool. And then it's a lot faster, so you can run and attack at the same time, where you can't really do that in the first Strider game. And then like the bosses are really interesting. Just the way that the whole game's presented to you is really cool. The only thing I didn't like is like every maybe like minute or two, like once you finish the section of a level, it has like a Strider logo that like spins around the entire screen and like fills it up, and it's kind of like a wait or like a load screen. That's a little bit annoying, but the game is really cool and definitely worth playing. All right, the next game up is going to be one that I showed in a Pickheads video, but it's a game called The Adventures of Lomax. This is a action platforming game based off the Lemmings, and it's really cool. Like the art style in this game is really great, and like the music's really cool. The platforming is really tight. Combat kind of sucks because like you can either like spin attack or throw your helmet, and then I think later in the game you get a little bit more, like maybe like one or two more power ups. I haven't been able to make it too far in this game, but of the game that I have played, it's really fun. And yeah, so it's just like a really cool looking action platformer. Jesus. And yeah, so definitely worth picking up. This one's somewhat of a difficult game to find. I found it on a forum though, so it was pretty cool to go there, because you'll generally get better prices looking on forums than you will on like eBay or Amazon or something. But yeah, it's a cool game. The next game up is going to be something between like an on-rail shooter like Star Fox and then like something like Zone of the Enders. But it's going to be a game called Omega Boost, and this is by Polyphony Digital, the same people that made Gran Turismo. So it's pretty cool, just because it's a game from them that isn't a racing game. But this game is actually really cool. So like you can use L1 to do an auto attack, or like to auto lock onto an enemy, and that'll just constantly spin your character around to keep your enemy in sight. And then you can do R1, which will kind of be like a strafing attack, or like it's just a strafing movement. And you can hit the circle button, which will be like a dash. And you can use like a combination of all three buttons to kind of like strafe dash around an enemy, or just like auto lock on and then strafe around the enemy and stuff like that. And if you don't hit the attack, your mech will auto target enemies, and then you can hit the attack button and send out homing blast, or you can just hit the X button to shoot out like just missiles and stuff in front of you. So this game is really cool. Like I said, just in general, the way that it's presented is really good looking. I guess this was one of the last PlayStation 1 games, and generally when you get to the end of a video game generation, like people finally figured out how to program for the console, so games look a little bit better. And this game just looks really good, like I said, and it doesn't use the analog stick, so you use the D-pad to move in the 3D space. And for the fact that you're not using an analog stick in 3D space, it actually works very, very well. And this is just another one that you don't really hear about. It's not really a hard to find game, and it's not really expensive, but I don't think people really know about the game. And it's this one I think is 100% worth picking up. It's not too long, and it's not really too hard, but it's definitely worth the playthrough. And then the last game here is one that's been on my radar for a while. This one's a fairly very hard to find game, and it's, I think, probably one of the more obscure PlayStation 1 games, because I almost never hear anybody talk about this game. But this one is definitely like the love child between like Star Fox and Panzer Dragoon, and that's going to be Vanark. So this game, I think I read somewhere that one of the primary team members for the development team for Panzer Dragoon actually was one of the lead developers on this game. So it does share a lot of similarities. And like playing through the levels and stuff, like I said, it's basically like Star Fox and Panzer Dragoon as far as like how the levels are laid out and how they play. So like visually it looks like Panzer Dragoon, and like gameplay wise it's like Star Fox. You have like a Slippy-esque type character that's constantly popping up and just rambling on about crap. And you can select a wingman from your ship that'll like walk or like fly around the level with you. So some wingmen are better at identifying like which paths to take, where to go, and like they can navigate you through the level. And then some wingmen are just like better combat wingmen, so they can help you take out enemies and stuff faster. So it's pretty cool. It's got that kind of strategy element to it. And then there's like elements where you can walk around your ship with like tank controls and stuff, which I thought was kind of interesting. But it's got a little bit of an RPG side to it too. But yeah, like this game is very, very, very cool. And like I said, it's a very hard to find PlayStation 1 game, which is pretty interesting. And yeah, definitely worth picking up. So that's going to be this PlayStation 1 Hidden Gems video. I might do a second part to it, but if not, then these games, I think, of my collection are probably some of the best games, or at least that people don't talk about, that I think are worth picking up. But anyways, hope you guys have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. Later.